A la boca no. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to expand a bit on a topic that I touched in my previous video. In there I mentioned that sometimes I'm accused of tracing, of not knowing how to draw, and that's the main reason why my paintings turn out good. Many in the comments have pointed out that I shouldn't let it bother me and that I should just ignore these people, but a video like this can help clear things out and maybe it will be useful for others. And I guess that I just want to give my opinion on the subject. I promise it doesn't upset me or offend me in any way. I know that it's kind of pointless to talk to them. I still do sometimes, but anyway, I'm gonna walk you through my whole process from sketch to final painting, and I'll explain why I don't draw directly with my pencil on my pastel paper. Like I've said multiple times before, now I have very little time for myself and for my art, so I try to spend it wisely. I sketch on my iPad because it's super convenient. I can doodle 2 minutes here, 4 minutes there. I can always fix things and try whatever I want very quickly. That's the greatest thing about digital art. And also Procreate, which is the app that I use, records the process automatically without the need for a camera on my face. So that's a big bonus. Once I'm happy with my sketch, I print it on normal printing paper, and apply graphite on the back so that I can transfer it onto my surface of choice. In this case, it's pastel paper. I'm aware that there are more efficient transferring methods or tools that I could be using instead, but to be honest, I'm used to do it like this. It only takes a couple of minutes, so that's how I do it. I don't draw on pastel mat directly because, one, as you can see, you cannot fully erase the lines to fix anything, and simply getting them lighter takes quite a bit of effort and it always leaves some residue behind. And second, look at what happens when you go with an oil pastel stick over the graphite. And keep in mind that I haven't added that much pencil anyway. It smears, and depending on the color that you use, it's still visible afterwards. If you go for more opaque and dark colors, then you won't see it, but if you use semi-translucent or lighter shades, you are gonna get a gray cast. However, when I transfer it, I get minimal lines and much less graphite on the paper, so there is no mixing and no smearing happening. And I don't end up with eraser beads mixed in with my oil pastels, because that would be a nightmare to get rid of. The only way that I can think of would be using tweezers, and I'm not doing that. And those are the main reasons why I trace. But also I do it because it just helps me to have the drawing ready and the proportions ready and everything figured out in advance, and just paint. It makes the painting process more enjoyable for me. And of course, when I'm doodling in my sketchbook, I don't bother because that's what the sketchbook is for. But even then, I normally don't record my sketching because I'm rotating the sketchbook non-stop. It's just a lot nicer to draw without the camera. This is how it is. If I'm drawing on an easel or the drawing pad is vertically, then it doesn't bother me because the position of the camera is not in my way. But if I'm drawing on a sketchbook on paper down, it's a pain. But regardless, what if I just trace a photo directly? Would that make me a bad artist or a fake artist? I don't understand when or why the art community, at least online, because I think this is mostly an online thing, decided that tracing is cheating even though we know that many great artists have been doing it for centuries. What are the rules and who set them? What if you are tight on time and have a deadline? Is it still a crime to take a shortcut? I don't know, this is so silly to me. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, so please share them below. I know that everybody has their own opinions, and this seems to be one of those subjects that are very black or white. I know for a fact that a lot of artists nowadays trace as well, whether they disclose it or not, because if you do, you may be eaten alive. But I think it's okay. I don't see any shame in it. They already know how to draw, and they are just saving time where they can. I believe that tracing is a tool, and it's also a great learning tool. That's how I started when I was a kid and how many others did. I had this gigantic Disney's coloring book with its blue cover that ended up ripped. It was not in a very good state, and I would trace and color those pages so much. There are some of those drawings that I still remember vividly, even though it's been a while. But I loved doing that. It was so much fun. I learned to see the things that I was missing when I was drawing freehand my own stuff, whatever it was. So I started like that, and then I moved from tracing to copying my favorite characters directly from the TV. I would record everything, and then I would post the VHS, the videotape, and just draw. Pokemon, Cardcaptor Sakura, Digimon. I was so proud of those drawings. And slowly but surely, my own drawings, the ones that I was making from imagination, my own original characters and whatnot, they also started getting better over time. I find it funny when someone says that my paintings are someone else's paintings, because I've seen it in other people's channels or comments, when they say that our paintings turn out good simply because we trace the lines first. If you think about it, it's kinda ridiculous. What about everything else? The medium that you are using? Not to mention that the pencil lines tend to get lost pretty quickly, and if you don't have an understanding of anatomy, let's say, how are you gonna put them back and make it look not wonky? It makes no sense. Tracing is useful for several reasons, and it can be helpful and a part of an artist's workflow. And also, in many cases, it just makes sense to do it. And a lot of professional artists trace, and particularly many that do portrait commissions. Time is limited. There are deadlines and clients that want accuracy, obviously. So tracing saves time and gives a good starting point. But it's just that, a starting point, and not the whole process. Most people that order a commission or that just even buy artwork, what they care is about the end result and not about how the artist got there. So feel free to do it however you want to. And last but not least, some people just don't want to draw. Some people want to jump as quickly as possible to the painting part, and it's a valid thing to do as well. I don't fully share it because I enjoy drawing as well, but sometimes I'm in the mood just for some color and to play with my paints. So just do what you want. And that's my 2 cents. They were long 2 cents, but I would love to know what you think. And now about my painting or drawing. As somebody correctly pointed out, that what I do with oil pastels is drawing and not painting. And I agree, technically it's true, but I'm still gonna call them paintings because that's what they look to me. So about the painting. I wanted to do something inspired by these very rare but very beautiful fall sunny days that we sometimes have here, with a lot of orange and light, but also a lot of contrast. I wanted her face to have strong highlights and her hair to be lost in the background. I didn't want any emphasis on it, and you see it doesn't have a lot of definition, not even on the front. And I knew I wanted to have dark background and green orangey leaves around, but at some point I got very carried away with that dark sepia, and I had to try to remove some paint and then bring back some light. Not a lot, still quite dark, but I'm happy with how it turned out, and it represents what I wanted it to, so all good, I guess. Something else I wanted to do was to try to leave more noticeable textures, play with marks, and not to overblend like I normally do. Instead, I blended more using oil pastel sticks over what I had already painted, so I would paint several lines with different colors, and that would create a new color, and it would leave those strikes. And I still think it looks polished, but it adds some extra interest. I like the effect. I was looking at some of my older works from 2 or 3 years ago, and they had more of this finish to them, and I just wanted to bring it back. I've also used paper stamps as well to make lines and define some of the planes of the face, and just to create, again, some interest. But I've used them a lot, particularly on the background, to move paint around and improvise as I went, because the background wasn't really well thought out ahead, and I didn't know what I was doing. You would say that I didn't have a clear idea of the leaves or the colors or several things on the background. I have an older video about how to protect your oil pastel artwork, but I still get questions about it all the time, so I understand people don't have to watch everything someone posts or anything. So in case you didn't watch it, my preference is to store them with a sheet of glassine paper on top, and I secure it with some washi tape. I make sure that the tape that I use is quite mild, so I don't destroy the paper when I'm trying to lift it. It's what I've done for this piece as well as the majority of my works, because I don't like dealing with fixatives. Baby's waking up, so I'm gonna let you finish watching the rest of the video if you want to, and I hope you liked it. See you soon and have a nice day. Bye bye!